ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Man Cave here at Wistful Vistas in beautiful suburban San Diego, California. Today we're going to stay with our senior exercises for motorcycle riders, and what I had asked Mr. Griffin Hopf, certified professional trainer, about is, are there a series of warm-ups one could do in a short period of time before you get on your bike and go for that morning or afternoon ride, just the stretches to start that ride. So Griffin, why don't you take us through a couple of things?
Well, I asked Gary what a common problem with driving a motorcycle for longer periods of time is, and one thing he mentioned is lower back pain. So what I want to do for everybody here is warm up those hips and warm up those legs so we can get a nice deep stretch. Oftentimes the lower back pain we have is because of glute and hamstring weakness as well as tightness. So the first thing I would have you do is warm up. If it's the first thing in the morning, try to walk around, have your cup of coffee, go through your routine. And so once you've gotten a few steps in there, what I want you to do, keep your knees straight. Do not bend them. If you bend them, you are cheating. And then bend down, stick your butt out. Try to keep your back straight in the beginning. There we go. And if you're really flexible, then you can bend. Really try to get a deep stretch. But all you're aiming for here is a stretch in your hamstrings. You shouldn't feel any pain so much as the pain of a deep stretch, which should be comfortably uncomfortable. And I would hold that for a minimum of 30 seconds and a maximum of 45 seconds. And stand up nice and slow. You can get a little dizzy. The second thing I would have you do is warm up your hips as well as your groin. So what this is going to look like, it's a little bit of a lunge, and this is a little tough. So as we said earlier,
this is great for that hip socket on a sport bike. You know, sometimes that's a tough one to get ready.
Absolutely, but be mindful of your own limitations. If you have any wrist injuries, this could be very difficult. If you have any knee injuries, this could be difficult. So just be mindful of those things. But then you're pushing your hips forward. So you're getting a nice deep lunge here. And I have them on my fists here, so I'm nice and sturdy. Point to your hands too. Be mindful of those wrists. Just push those hips in. And you can bob a little bit. And try to do this about 30 to 45 seconds as well, or however long you can muster. And you're going to feel a real deep stretch in your groin and in your hip sockets. And do both sides. So then we're going to switch.
So Griffin,
same thing.
While you're doing that, if someone can't get down there all the way, it's still okay to do the stretch, to try anyway.
Well, the main purpose of a stretch is to feel the stretch. So it doesn't matter if you can get as deep or as low as I can, so long as you're getting a stretch without hurting anything else and feeling any kind of pain. So if you're doing this stretch and you feel a shooting pain in your back or a shooting pain in your knee or wherever else, if you feel anything but a stretch in your groin, you should stop. And with that, I would say try to do a variation. So you want to stretch the muscles in your groin area. So perhaps, pardon me, Gary.
Sure.
You could lift your leg up, just like this, and you just lean forward. Not towards your toes, this is going to be a hamstring stretch, but forward and out. And keep that knee pointed up. And this will give you a little bit of a groin stretch too. This will probably be actually a lot easier than that one, but that one's a much more effective, deeper stretch.
Excellent.
And the third one I would have everyone do, and I think this is probably the most important one for back pain, and this works best after you've stretched your groin. This is a hip and glute stretch. You're going to lift your foot over your knee, like so, and then this is Gary's favorite. You're going to grab the top of your knee or the back. It doesn't really matter where your hands are, so long as you're grabbing here or here. So let's start here. This is the easy way to do it. Let that foot relax, and you are pulling your knee towards your chest. And what this is doing is stretching my right hip and glute. And how it's doing that is it's pulling my my knee is pushing my ankle towards my chest. And it causes a ton of tension right here. And it's going to really release those hips and glutes. Awesome. And what that's going to do is alleviate any tension in that hip and glute and on the left side of your lower back. You're going to hold that for about 30 to 45 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot get that far down.
This part's an issue for Gary. A lot of sitting and not a lot of stretching. So we're working on reversing that. All right. And that should really take about 2 minutes and 30 seconds if you do 30 seconds on each stretch. And don't be afraid to hit those areas again. but try not to do multiple minutes on each stretch. You don't want to overdo a stretch either.
Right. Griffin, let me do a couple real quick and correct my form here. So the knee stretch, and the important thing is keeping
those knees as straight as you can. There we go. Try to stand back up, lock those knees. So guide your hands down your thighs until you feel a deep stretch, and then you're going to hold it.
Now I cannot get to my toes.
Here we go. Now you're feeling a deep hamstring stretch. You got a slight bend, but so long as you're feeling that stretch, I'll let it slide for now.
I feel it. So
Perfect.
that's as far as this old guy goes.
Let's pretend that was 30 seconds.
Okay.
Stand on up. And then I'm going to have you...
Stand up slowly.
I would say slowly. I am someone with a little bit of low blood pressure, so I get a bit of a head rush, and I can get a little dizzy. The possibility of fainting is there, so just be mindful of getting up and down slowly.
All right, so this foot forward, on this side anyway.
Yes, sir. And then your hands in between your feet there. There we go. And get nice and low, and then you're pushing your hips in. You're not feeling any pain in your wrists, none in your shoulder.
Yeah.
Perfect. And you can bob your hips down a little bit. There we
You
go.
know, folks, people talk about, I get this hip socket lock sometimes on a sporting bike. This is excellent.
Try to get this foot flat for me.
Okay. Excellent.
Then you can switch sides. Nice and slow. There we go. Try to get the foot as flat as you can right there. Perfect. Straighten out your back as much as you can and push those hips deep into the ground.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay.
That's about 30 seconds.
So that's a cinematic 30 seconds.
Yep, that's right.
So let's do the glute, as you call it. And you saw Griffin. Griffin is very flexible. That's why he's a professional. And here's my interpretation.
And then we're going to pull our knee back. I would say Gary is in a lot more pain than most people are going to be for this. So don't feel discouraged.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Try to get your hands even. If you can get both hands, there we go. And pull that in.
Okay.
And why don't you switch? And for anybody who is very flexible, getting this heel down a little bit further down your quad is going to get a little deeper of a stretch, as well as the closer you pull your knee towards your chest. There we go. It's 30 seconds.
There's a 30 seconds. Okay. So you got it. You saw the right way to do it and the old guy's way to do it. Griffin points out, stay within your physical envelope, what you feel comfortable doing. But all these things I'm impressed with, as I think they'll help get you ready for that first morning ride. Okay, so that's our start for today's exercises. And Griffin, any last words on that pre-ride routine?
I would just say one more time, be mindful of your own physical limitations. If it's hurting you and it feels more than a deep stretch, it feels painful, stop what you're doing, make adjustments.
Awesome. Okay, hope this helps, ladies and gentlemen. Comments down below, please, and like the video. And if you're in the San Diego area, I want to give another shout out to Griffin Hopf, H-O-P-F. Thank you. See ya.